for 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Honorable members of Parliament, good afternoon. My name is Emmanuel. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my personal story with you. I see that Dr. Salway has failed to accurately represent his interview of my story and of my journey, so allow me to share that with you. I was around 5 years old the first time that I noticed I was attracted to the same sex. At first, I didn't pay much attention to the attraction. However, as I grew older, I began to notice it more and more. I endured a lot of bullying in school at the hands of other boys. As a result of the bullying and previous abuse I had gone through, I drew near to girls in a desire for safety and protection. I was called fag, queer, and girly. This bullying really belittled me and caused me great confusion. I began to question my sexual orientation and gender identity. At the age of 12 years old, I severely hated myself and regretted being alive. I felt incredibly lonely during this time and didn't feel safe to confide in anyone. I thought my only option was to end my life, but I'm so thankful that all attempts to do so failed. In my teen years, I began to explore gay culture on the internet. I deeply longed to understand my sexuality, who I was, and where I belonged. When I turned 16, I decided to identify as gay. I greatly feared rejection and ostracization from my family, friends, and faith community. I began to engage in same-sex relationships, visit gay bars, and efforts to fully accept myself and embrace this new identity. Though not everyone in my life agreed with the decisions I was making, they were all very loving, caring, and supportive of me as an individual. I was never asked or required to change my behavior, what I believed in order to belong. During this time, I was told by many outside the community I regularly surrounded myself with that as long as I was happy and living my truth, that's all that mattered. I agreed with them, or so I thought. As a 16-year-old, I realized that even though I was doing everything that society says will make me happy, I was still very unsettled. On my own initiative, I chose to regularly meet with a counselor who compassionately cared for me. She affirmed my sexual identity and encouraged me to continue living the life that I was living. Week after week, I would hear the same message, and I would leave feeling just as confused as I did when I walked in. Seeing as I was not getting the support I needed, I sought out counseling, this time from a pastor at a church. He was incredibly compassionate and caring, and neither affirmed nor condemned the decisions I was making or my sexual identity. In fact, we didn't even address those points at first. Instead, we began to tackle the difficulties that I had walked through as a child. And as I went on that journey, each week that I met with him, I was able to identify the lies that I was believing about myself, and I began to experience a truth that restored my heart. I started to see life differently and deeply loved it. Joy began to swell within me, and I began to see myself for who Jesus truly created me to be. As a result, I decided I no longer wanted to continue the course my life was on. I ceased to engage in same-sex relationships and instead sought to live my life in a way that was consistent with my faith and beliefs. I am very thankful to have received the guidance and support I freely sought out as a teenager. Had it not been for that, I don't think I would be breathing today and sharing this story with you. The counseling I received didn't remove all my same-sex attractions. However, I found a deep joy and fulfillment in not engaging in same-sex behaviors in order to live in accordance with my beliefs and convictions. Myself and many others like me, young and old, regularly rely on the support of counselors and mentors to help us to continue the life we have chosen. I understand this is not a popular opinion. However, I'm not asking for you to agree with our decisions. I'm simply asking that you acknowledge that people like me exist. I stand with you in your efforts to see LGBTQ plus individuals protected and loved. Therefore, I ask that you create a well-written bill that truly bans coercive and abusive methods while respecting the individual's freedom at any age to choose the type of support they want and their desired goal. I trust that you will make a decision that will benefit and protect the citizens of Canada, while upholding fundamental rights and freedoms. Let's move forward together and ensure that our land and our people continues to be glorious and free. Thank you so much for your time and for listening to my story.